tonight on Y News. The court orders the arrest of Police Superintendent Marvin Marcos and 18 others in connection to Albuera Mayor Rolando Espinosa's slay case. President Rodrigo Duterte sets to sign 3 agreements with the government of Thailand in his 3-day official visit. Over 300 trucking services were apprehended and fined for violating the newly imposed light truck ban.
The Department of Health set to conduct a nationwide medical checkup to indigent Filipinos in March. Government agencies open job opportunities to the youth sector this summer break. And Smurfs characters joined the United Nations to celebrate young talents coinciding the International Day of Happiness.
Y News begins now.
From the UNTV News and Rescue Command Center, this is Y News with Angelo Castro III and Darlene Basingan.
Good evening. Suspects in the Espinosa slay case, Police Superintendent Marvin Marcos and 18 others are likely to go to jail anytime soon. Grace Casin will tell us why.
PNP Chief Police Director General Ronald De La Rosa confirmed this morning that the warrant of arrest against former CIDG Region 8 Chief Police Superintendent Marvin Marcos and 18 other police is already out last week. The court's decision is in connection with a murder case filed against them on their involvement in the death of former Albuera Leyte Mayor Rolando Espinosa Sr.
Na-serve na ngayon doon sa CIDG na Region 8. 20 sila na nalabasan ng warrant of arrest for murder. Lahat sila ngayon accounted na doon sa CIDG na Region 8 at i-return na yung warrant sa court at they are just awaiting for court orders for their kung saan sila i-remand.
According to Regional Director Police Chief Superintendent Jose Villacorte, Police Regional Office 8, the respondents have now undergone the booking procedure after they voluntarily submitted themselves for accounting and investigation. The warrants of arrest will be returned to the RTC Branch 14 and a corresponding commitment order is expected to be issued by the court for the custody of the respondents. It was in December last year when the National Bureau of Investigation filed multiple murder charges against Marcos and 28 others, which led to the suspension of Marcos as the chief of the CIDG Region 8. Former Mayor Espinosa Sr. and drug suspect Raul Yap were killed on November 2, 2016 in an alleged shooting that happened inside Baybay City Provincial Jail when operatives were serving the search warrants against them. However, PNP Internal Affairs Service is set to release their decision on the administrative cases filed against the said policemen on March 31, 2017. Grace Casin, UNTV News and Rescue, Camp Crame.
The Department of Justice has recommended administrative charges against the Sama Regional Trial Court Branch 30 Judge Tarcelo Sabare Jr. In its resolution, the panel of prosecutors said that it was highly irregular, unnecessary, and unprocedural for the judge to issue the search warrant since the provincial jail is a government facility and the policemen of CIDG 8 have ready access to it by merely coordinating with the jail warden. It added that there is no justifiable grounds to support the extreme urgency to implement the search of Mayor Rolando Espinosa's cell at 3 in the morning since the mayor is already in detention. A copy of the resolution was forwarded to the Office of the Court Administrator for appropriate action and disposition.
Philippine National Police Chief Ronald Bato de la Rosa admits that a so-called palit-ulo or head-swapping scheme thus occurs in some of PNP's anti-illegal drugs operations. However, Bato says PNP scheme is not what Vice President Leni Robredo claims it to be. Leia Ilagan will tell us why.
Yung palit-ulo na version na sinasabi na Vice President, dinideny ko po yan. Kung meron mang kaso na nangyari doon, I have yet to receive a complaint about that.
Philippine National Police Chief Ronald Bato de la Rosa denies the allegation of Vice President Leni Robredo that it has been the scheme of policemen to arrest the relatives of drug suspects to force them to surrender to authorities. De la Rosa says although the so-called palit-ulo or head swapping happens in some big drug operations of the PNP, it was a far cry from the claims of the Vice President.
Yung palit-ulo scheme na common practice ng police, wherein yung ikaw nahuli kita, may drugs, pusher ka. Ngayon, palit-ulo, ilaglag mo yung sino yung supplier mo o sino yung drug lord na nasa taas. Kung masabi mo yan, hindi naman actually papalayain, depende na kung for a lesser offense. Imbes na Section 5, yung pushing or selling, ang magiging Section 11 na lang, possession, mere possession. So, for a lighter offense, sige, pwede na itong lighter offense ang ikakaso ko sa'yo, basta sabihin mo sa akin kung sino yung source mo. So, yan ang palit-ulo.
De la Rosa also clarifies that he has yet to receive any letter from the Vice President.
Wala ko natanggap. Honestly, wala ko natanggap. Kahit na ordinaryong tao, kahit hindi Vice President, magreklamo sa akin, a-actionan ko talaga yan. Lalo na we are deep into our internal cleansing program. Ayaw natin mangyari yan.
Meanwhile, the Volunteer Against Crime and Corruption has asked the Vice President to publicly apologize for the statement she has made on her YouTube video.
We will ask her officially to make a public apology.
Leia Ilagan, UNTV News and Rescue, Camp Crame.
In connection to that report, in a press conference this afternoon, Vice President Robredo's camp asserted that they have sent a letter to the Department of the Interior and Local Government and the Philippine National Police, stating their concern over the government's war on drugs campaign. The Vice President's camp showed the letter dated January 24, 2017 to belie PNP Chief Director General De La Rosa's previous statement that no letter has been received in his office relative to the allegations against the palit-ulo scheme.
PNP Chief Police Director General Ronald De La Rosa slams the European Parliament's resolution which states that the cases filed against Senator Leila de Lima are politically motivated. Grace Casin will tell us why.
Philippine National Police Chief Director General Ronald De La Rosa strongly believes that the Muntinlupa Regional Trial Court has sufficient basis for ordering the arrest and detention of Senator Leila de Lima. De La Rosa says among the court's basis is the proliferation of illegal drugs inside the new Bilibid prisons. Such has been the response of the police chief to a resolution recently released by the European Parliament. In its resolution, the EU recommended, among other things, the release of De Lima, the dropping of what it claims as politically motivated cases against the senator, and to ensure the safety of De Lima inside her detention cell.
Yung nag-issue ng warrant, I don't think ganun ka sensational na kaso at ganun ka taas na personality, basta-basta na lang mag-issue yung korte ng warrant kung walang basihan. Hindi po pwede yun.
PNP Chief also noted that the Philippine National Police should not be reminded to ensure the security of the senator, saying that's what they've already been doing.
Responsibilidad po namin si Senator De Lima, talagang binabantayan namin siya.
On her part, Senator De Lima previously expressed gratitude for the concern given to her by the International Human Rights Organization. De La Rosa, meanwhile, has this to say on the EU recommendation for the United Nations Human Rights Council to investigate alleged cases of extrajudicial killings in the Philippines.
Kung sila mismo makikialam dito sa atin, bahala sila. Wala mapapakialam sa kanila. Bahala sila.
Grace Casin, UNTV News and Rescue, Camp Crame.
The Philippine National Police is ready to provide security should the court allow Senator Leila de Lima to travel to her hometown in Bicol this coming April. According to PNP Chief Police Director General Ronald De La Rosa, They are sure to follow the court's order on the said issue. Based on PNP regulations, the requesting party will shoulder all the food and travel expenses of all security personnel once the court grants a respondent's travel request.
Depende yan sa korte. Kung pagbigyan siya, then we have to secure her. Although magastos nga yan dahil kung mag-aeroplano naman yung escort.
Liberal Party senators have defended Vice President Leni Robredo on the possible impeachment charges stemming from the video message she sent to the United Nations. Joyce Balancho will tell us why.
Vice President Leni Robredo says she has no agenda to replace President Rodrigo Duterte when she sent a video message to the United Nations, telling about the plight of victims of extrajudicial killings in the country. Georgina Hernandez, Robredo's spokesperson, says House Speaker Pantaleon Alvarez's statement that the Vice President is rushing to get the highest position in the land is not true.
Alam naman natin na si VP Leni nakatutok sa kanyang trabaho bilang pangalawang Pangulo at wala sa kanyang plano na magmadali o maging Pangulo.
While Robredo respects the same sentiments of President Duterte against her, she maintains that she is just doing her job as the Vice President. Nonetheless, Robredo adds she is ready to face any possible impeachment.
Magiging handa naman po si VP Leni na humarap sa bagay na yan, pero ang mariin namin pong ipinapahayag ay hanggang sa ngayon wala pong malinaw na basihan yung mga binabanggit po ni Speaker Alvarez.
Senate President Coco Pimentel believes there is sufficient number of votes in the House of Representatives to push the impeachment forward. While he claims he has not yet seen the video of Robredo, Pimentel says there's a possibility that the Vice President cannot be protected by her right to freedom of expression.
Lahat naman tayo may freedom of expression. But there's also betrayal of public trust. Parehas na yun. Tandaan nyo, there are rights in the Constitution, but I think accepted na yan and settled na yan. These are not absolute rights. The rights are not absolute.
Senate President Pro Tempore Senator Ralph Recto believes otherwise.
It is part of democracy to criticize government policy. So I don't see any betrayal of public trust there.
Other LP Senators Bam Aquino, Leila de Lima, Franklin Drilon, and Francis Pangilinan defend Robredo on the issue and believe her actions were within her prerogative as an elected official and a citizen of the country. Pimentel in turn challenged the LP to denounce the impeachment complaint against President Rodrigo Duterte as well. Joyce Balancho, UNTV News and Rescue, Senate of the Philippines.
House Committee on Justice Chairman Representative Reynaldo Umali says the impeachment complaint against Vice President Leni Robredo is more likely to prosper than the impeachment complaint filed against President Duterte. Monokson will tell us why.
House Committee on Justice Chairman Representative Reynaldo Umali says the impeachment complaint is definitely a numbers game. And if this is the sole basis for an impeachment complaint to push through, there's a big chance that the complaint against Vice President Robredo will progress.
Kasi siyempre pag nagbotohan at hindi nakakuha ng boto yung complaint against the President, then it will die a natural death. No? On the other hand, since there is a super majority, all assuming everything is in order in terms of form and substance, then it will be a lot easier to get the numbers to pursue an impeachment complaint against the Vice President.
But if some members of the lower house were to be asked, the complaint against the Vice President has no form and substance for it to be filed in the House Committee on Rules and in the House Committee on Justice.
So tiningnan ko, pinakinggan ko, sinabi lamang ng Vice President yung mga nangyayari dito sa Pilipinas na yun din ang basihan ng aming impeachment complaint. No? So, tingnan natin sa taong bayan. Ito bang mga allegations namin hinugot lang namin sa hangin? Haka-haka lang ba ito? O araw-araw may nakikita tayong may pinapatay?
Alejandro is the one who filed an impeachment complaint against the President, and he is confident that they will get the vote that they need. Meanwhile, Kabayan Party List Representative Harry Roque is appealing to Alejano to pull out his complaint because this may result in a political turmoil. Roque added that the House should instead focus on their duties and drafting of significant laws. Precious time will just be wasted on the impeachment trials.
Tigil na ang politika. Magtrabaho na kaming lahat. Recess nga po ngayon nagdepensa pa tayo ng Universal Healthcare Bill. Napakadami ko pa pong panukalang batas na nakapila.
House Committee on Justice Chairman Reynaldo Umali said they can take on 2 impeachment complaints in case both will progress. It is their duty to accept any complaint that is within their jurisdiction and to accomplish everything the soonest possible time. Mon Hokson, UNTV News and Rescue, House of Representatives.
A political analyst believes that any impeachment complaint against President Rodrigo Duterte will just face a number of obstacles in the lower house. Nel Maribuhok will tell us why.
I think because of the numbers game, the impeachment against President Duterte will not prosper. They will say it is sufficient in form but not in substance.
Political analyst Ferdy Passion believes that it will be difficult for an impeachment complaint against President Rodrigo Duterte to progress in the lower house of Congress. Passion explains for an impeachment complaint to proceed, it should gain the support of 1/3 of the total members of the House or at least 98 lawmakers. Currently, the lower house is dominated by the supermajority coalition with a total of 267 members. At present, Magdalo Party List Representative Gerry Alejano is now working to gain enough support for the impeachment complaint he filed against President Duterte. Alejano is confident on his position because according to him, some lawmakers are now expressing their support, although some are still weighing in the details of the complaint.
Yes, meron na nga nagsabing susuporta. Nagulat nga lahat hindi mga nila alam So, alam mo na, para in case na sila ay mag-decision din later on, napag-aralan din nila.
Nel Maribuhok, UNTV News and Rescue, Manila.
Another government agency head is in hot water as the Board of Philippine Coconut Authority places him under preventive suspension. Ray Pelayo will tell us why.
The Philippine Coconut Authority Board has suspended PCA Administrator Avelino Andal following reports of alleged corruption in his agency. Promptly after the flag-raising ceremony this morning, Yusek Halmen Valdez announced Andal's suspension in front of PCA employees. Valdez said the board has received numerous affidavits and sworn statements and even received from Andal's trusted employees related to the alleged illegal collection of 1 peso and 50 centavos per board foot of lumber in Basilan. The statements point to Andal as the mastermind of such scheme. Valdez adds that 1 peso and 50 centavos per board foot seems small, but with 400,000 trees set to be cut down due to the effect of Coco Lisap, it would actually reach around 90 million pesos in Basilan alone. Other areas include Mindoro, Marinduque, and Quezon.
Kapag director ka, pwede kang tanggalin for cause. Hindi mo kailangan ng TRO, hindi mo kailangan ng preventive suspension, wala kang kailangan. Pwede kang matanggal agad-agad. But the CABSEC chose to order a preventive suspension para mabigyan po ng pagkakataon ang mga kasali sa usapin na magpaliwanag.
But Andal denies the allegation and questions the process carried out by the board in passing the resolution suspending him. He says he was not given the time to explain before the suspension.
Sa dokumento walang nagsasabi na I am the mastermind. Because to be a mastermind, you have to show proof. Kahit yung mga perang ipinadala ng mga kausap nung aking tao doon sa area, ay hindi naman nakapangalan sa akin, kundi nakapangalan din sa kanila.
Andal is accusing Yusek Valdez of orchestrating his ouster like what she did to heads of the National Irrigation Administration and National Food Authority. But Yusek Valdez says Andal is only sour graping. The board has assigned Deputy Administrator Glenn Santos to replace Andal, but the administrator said he will not step down until he is given due process. Ray Pelayo, UNTV News and Rescue, Quezon City.
Stores and grocery store owners complain against the newly imposed light truck ban by the Metropolitan Manila Development Authority or MMDA. Joanano will tell us why.
Malaking problema rin sa amin yan kasi sabi ko nga, kung yung daan na mapapaigsi namin in terms of number of hours travel and yung consumption namin, mas mabuti na kung makakata kami ng EDSA, which is sabi ko nga, malapit-lapit yan sa mga kliyente sineservisyo namin.
Lito Di Mayuga, an owner of a trucking service, admits that the new traffic scheme or the light truck ban will have a big impact to their operation and profit. Lito says they will be forced to do deliveries at a later time to avoid inconveniencing their customers.
So talaga sakripisyo, imagine, yung gabi dapat natutulog yung mga tao, papahinga, lalabas, maghahanap buhay, para lang makasunod doon sa...
For their part, grocery store owners are left with no choice but to adjust their orders of product supplies to shorten the time of delivery.
Pero we will probably, increase our order size just a little bit more so that protected naman kami at hindi naman, caught off guard.
However, the owners clarify that they are not against the light truck ban, only that the MMDA should fix the mabuhay lanes so that light trucks will be able to use it as an alternate route. This morning, personnel of the Metropolitan Manila Development Authority or MMDA were deployed early along several parts of North Avenue southbound lane for the first day of the strict implementation of the light truck ban. More than 377 motorists were issued with violation tickets for violating the new traffic management scheme along EDSA. Apprehended motorists paid a fine of 2,000 pesos each. Based on MMDA's estimate, more than 3,000 light trucks ply through along EDSA every day. The agency says the new traffic scheme is one way to ease the daily heavy traffic on the major thoroughfare. Many of the apprehended motorists claimed of being unaware that today is the first day of implementation of the light truck ban.
Ngayon lang po, hindi namin alam ngayon ko lang po nalaman. Wala naman kasi kami nakikita na nakakaritulan na nabawal na pala. So tubusin na lang, sa susunod hindi na dadaan agad ng oras.
Siguro naman hindi na po kami nagkulang dahil halos isang linggo po kami nagda-dry run dito sa EDSA. Pinagsasabihan lahat ng trucks.
John Nano, UNTV News and Rescue, Makati City.
Next on Y News. The Department of Health sets to conduct a nationwide medical checkup to indigent Filipinos in March.
And government agencies open job opportunities to the youth sector this summer break.
Y News will be right back. Overseas Filipino workers in Thailand are proud and at the same time excited that President Rodrigo Duterte is visiting the country. Rosalie Cos will tell us why.
Of the more than 14,000 OFWs in Thailand, more or less 2,000 are expected to attend a community meeting to be led by President Rodrigo Duterte himself on Wednesday. Many of the OFWs have prepared so they could meet the president. Others say that under President Duterte's leadership, OFWs are now more concerned about the situation in the Philippines.
Very proud. Tsaka hindi ako ganito ka-politically inclined before na pero nung pagkandidato pa lang po niya, pag-upo pa lang po niya, nagkaroon tayo, siguro tayong lahat po, or kami na out from the media na nagkaroon ng awareness sa politics po.
Kung paghahanda po ang pag-usapan po, sobrang excited ngayon. Actually, alos din na makatulog kasi parang ilang days na lang kasi. And last night po, yung nakita ko yung mga Filipino doon sa Myanmar, parang yung excitement nila parang mangyayari din sa amin in 2 days time.
Ang inaasahan ko po na talagang mababanggit niya yung ugnayan niya dito sa Thailand dahil nga nagtatrabaho kami dito ako as teacher na sana mas mapaganda, mapaunlad pa ang samahan ng Pilipinas at Thailand.
President Duterte will fly tonight from Myanmar to Bangkok, Thailand for a 2-day official state visit. Thailand is among the countries where the Philippines has a long-standing diplomatic ties, and the introductory visit of the Philippine president is expected to further boost the ties of the two countries. Philippine Ambassador to Thailand Mary Jo Aragon says President Duterte will have a meeting with high-ranking officials of Thailand, and the 3 agreements are expected to be signed between the two governments. This deals pertains to cooperation in the areas of science, technology, tourism, and agriculture.
There will be various issues of interest to both sides that may be discussed, especially in strengthening areas of cooperation in science and technology, in tourism, in education, agriculture. I believe yes, and I think trade and investment as well.
Meanwhile, the Embassy of the Philippines in Thailand says they're also looking forward to the return of President Duterte here in Bangkok next year, as Thailand will be holding the ASEAN chairmanship in 2018. Rosa Licoz, UNTV News and Rescue, Bangkok, Thailand.
Some senators have expressed grief over the death of former senator and diplomat Leticia Shahani after she succumbed to colon cancer early this morning. Senator Loren Legarda regarded her as one of the most distinguished legislators who was known for pushing and promoting for laws for the environment and women. Senator Grace Poe says Shahani serves as an inspiration for a generation of women for her steadfast principles and decisive actions.
Senator Shahani was our recognized voice or leading expert in foreign relations. So we will miss the chance for her to advise us on matters of foreign relations, especially now when it's more important than ever, or more relevant than ever.
Well, she's a big loss to the country. She's done many things for our country, and I intend to visit her to give honor myself in the next few days.
As the Department of Justice begins a preliminary probe on the so-called rent scam, a victim now considers withdrawing his complaint. Roderick Mendoza will tell us why.
Alias scam is among the hundreds of car owners who have fallen victims to the so-called rentangay scam. He appeared as one of the complainants during today's hearing at the Department of Justice, but is now thinking about dropping his complaint. He says all that matters to him is getting his car back, which he already did.
Wala namang naging atraso sa akin yung tao. Maging yung rental naman niya, binayaran niya naman. Kumbaga, settle naman lahat.
At the hearing, the complainants reaffirmed their allegations against the people behind the modus. Some of the respondents appeared, but the alleged masterminds, Rafaela Anunciacion and Taichicos Nambio, failed to appear. A lawyer for Marilu Cruz says his client only wanted to earn some money handling units for car rentals. They already filed a separate complaint against Anunciacion before the Provincial Prosecutor's Office of Bulacan.
Patutunayan namin na itong mga kliyente namin ay inosente at mga biktima rin sila. At wala pong katotohanan na itong mga kliyente ko ay kasama sa mga nagplano at nagsagawa ng ganitong uri ng scam na tinatawag nilang rentangay.
The respondents are facing estafa complaints for failing to give monthly rentals to car owners. Some of the units were even mortgaged without the consent of the legitimate owners. The respondents are expected to submit counter affidavits as DOJ resumes preliminary probe on Monday. Roderick Mendoza, UNTV News and Rescue, Manila.
Operatives from the Criminal Investigation and Detection Group Anti-Transnational Crime Unit arrested siblings in Imos, Cavite. Joanano will tell us why.
Through Through a search warrant released by the Quezon City Regional Trial Court Branch 89, operatives of the Criminal Investigation and Detection Group Anti-Transnational Crime Unit raided a house in Martinez Compound, Barangay Buhay na Tubig, Imus, Cavite earlier this morning. Authorities target brothers Lar Anthony and Ernie Boy Dayakap, allegedly involved in gun running and illegal drug activities.
Based sa intelligence report, siya at ang kanyang grupo ay di umano ay involved sa mga illegal na activities sa Cavite area. Pagbebenta ng baril at droga at iba pa ng criminal activities.
CIDG ATCO Chief Police Superintendent Roque Merdigia Jr. says the report they received states that the suspects hide high-caliber firearms like M16, Uzi submachine gun, 45 caliber gun, which are also stated in the search warrant. However, authorities were able to recover at the scene 38 caliber revolver and 6 ammunitions only. Also recovered at the house of the suspects were a bundle of dried marijuana, small wrapped dried marijuana planted in a pot, drug paraphernalia, and 2 turtles which are considered as endangered species.
Base sa ebidensyang nakuha natin na mga tuter at mga aluminum foil, ito ay maikokonsidera bilang drug den, no? Yung kanilang bahay ay isang drug den.
Because of this, the suspects will face multiple charges.
Yung paglabag sa 10591, pangalawa yung cultivation ng marijuana, drug den, section 6, at yung pagtataglay ng marijuana, no? Sa droga parang 3 na. At yung wildlife, no? Violation ng Wildlife Act.
Joan Nano, UNTV News and Rescue, Philippines.
The National Housing Authority or NHA has served today eviction notices to members of militant group Kadamay in Pandi, Bulacan. Leslie Longboan will tell us why.
The National Housing Authority or NHA has begun serving eviction notices to members of militant group Kadamay who forcefully occupied several housing units of the government in Pandi, Bulacan. The NHA initially went to the Villa Elise in Pandi, where more than 240 members of the said group occupied some of the housing units. Meanwhile, cops from PNP Bulacan Provincial Public Safety are also present to ensure that no turmoil will occur. Leonara Nagales, the Community Relation Officer of NHA Bulacan, says they gave the militant group 7 days to leave the housing units. If the Kadamay members refuse to leave, Nagales says the government will have no choice but to use force to evict them. Meanwhile, there had been a negotiation between the NHA and Kadamay members in the Pandi Residences 2 and 3 in Barangay Mapulang Lupa. Social workers from the Department of Social Welfare and Development also enter the Pandi Residences 2 as some children there are becoming ill. The leader of Kadamay initially said they will not leave the housing units until the government grants them their request to have their own houses. Meanwhile, PNP Chief Ronald de la Rosa says it is not the mandate of the police to guard any housing project and prevent any informal settlers from entering. Thus, de la Rosa says they should not be blamed if no one blocked the militant group to occupy the housing units.
Panagutan na bakit hinayaang makaukupa. Pag hinarang nila, magkasakitan, pananagutan naman nila. Bakit nila nasaktan yung mga nagukupa? I don't think merong liability yung ating police doon kung bakit nila naukupa yun.
Leslie Longboan, UNTV News and Rescue, Philippines.
The Department of Health or DOH is set to conduct a nationwide medical checkup to 20 million indigent Filipinos this March. Part of the said government program is the conduct of medical examinations in detention facilities. This following the discovery of 3 inmates of the Quezon City Jail recently tested positive for human immunodeficiency virus after they underwent medical checkup. DOH also targets to provide treatment and health assistance to Filipinos, especially in far-flung areas.
A nationwide campaign for check-up. So we started with the 20 million poorest Filipinos, and we're about 85% of that target nationwide. And we hope to complete by the end of the month. You know, our captive audience or participants for the check-up are the people in jail and in institutions like orphanages, etc.
The number of Filipino smokers has declined by more than 1 million based on the Global Adult Tobacco Survey of the Philippine Statistics Authority. Aiko Miguel will tell us why.
More than 1 million Filipinos stopped smoking since 2009 to 2015, a period of 6 years. The figure is based on the Global Adult Tobacco Survey of the Philippine Statistics Authority. It shows that from 17 million Filipinos who stopped smoking, the number further dropped to 15.9 million in 2015. Based on DOH report, one of the reasons for the decline in the number of smokers is the implementation of the Graphic Health Warning Law and strict implementation of local government ordinances and policies like the smoking ban in public places such as in Davao City, which is now considered 100% smoke-free. Another reason the DOH sees to have helped smokers quit smoking is the enforcement of the Anti-Cancer Tax Law or the Tobacco Tax Reform Law of 2012.
We need to do more to prevent 87,000 annual deaths among Filipinos to an annual economic loss of approximately 188 billion from tobacco-related hospitalization and productivity losses.
The World Health Organization, meanwhile, believes the big decline in cigarette smokers happened because of the government's efforts.
The decrease in tobacco use that we've seen here in the Philippines over the last years is truly remarkable also from a global perspective. A 20% relative decrease in only 6 years is one of the biggest drops in any country documented in the past decade. And I really want to congratulate the Philippines for this achievement.
The Department of Health expects more Filipinos would quit smoking, especially that President Rodrigo Duterte is set to sign the executive order on nationwide smoking ban in public places when he arrives from his trips in Myanmar and Thailand. Meanwhile, the Department of Finance explains the imposition of higher taxes on tobacco products is not just for the country's revenue collection, but also to encourage Filipinos to quit smoking. Finance officials note cigarette products increased by 4% annually.
In 2012, we collected 32 billion 162 for tobacco products, all tobacco products. In 2013, that went up to 70.4 billion pesos. So immediately you have a doubling, more than a doubling of the collections in excise taxes on tobacco. In 2014, that went up to 75.5, and in 2015, that rose to 100 billion.
Aiko Miguel, UNTV News and Rescue, Department of Health.
Thousands of jobs are open for the youth this summer. Leslie Longbowen will tell us why.
The youth sector is given opportunity to earn this school break. Under the Special Program for the Employment of Students or SPES of the Department of Labor and Employment and other government agencies such as DepEd, qualified youths aged 15 to 25 may apply for summer jobs.
Noong mga nakaraang panahon, taon, ang tinatanggap lang ng SPES program natin ay 18 to 25. So this year, binaba natin sa 15 dahil nga doon sa K-12 program. Ayon doon sa batas, kailangan deserving and poor, no? So yung annual family income, combined family income, hindi tataas sa 143,000.
Aside from economic status, the academic standing of student applicants will also be assessed.
Kinakailangan po kasi deserving ka. Ibig sabihin, magaganda ang record mo sa klase. Titignan po kasi yung scholastic record ng bata.
Meanwhile, the program is also open to the out-of-school youth who intend to continue their education. The Special Program for the Employment of the Students or SPES is mandated under Republic Act No. 9547. It aims to help the youth pursue their education by providing them income through part-time jobs during summer. Education Undersecretary Jesus Mateo says students can earn over 2,000 pesos per week based on the minimum wage law.
Ang binibigay natin ayon doon sa batas, no, ay yung minimum wage, no, which is 491 per day. 491 pesos per day. So binibigay natin yan on a weekly basis.
That's why DOLE continues to encourage the youth to grab the opportunity.
Maraming trabaho ngayon kasi maraming nag-register ng mga employers at sumali dito sa activity nito. Sa NCR na lang, dito sa ating National Capital Region, if I'm not mistaken, more than 17,000 business establishments are available para po mag-offer nitong ating tinatawag na SPES.
Those interested may apply in DOLE offices, Public Employment Services offices, or those of other agencies offering SPES and bring the following requirements: SPES application form, birth or baptismal certificate, latest income tax return of parents, Form 138 or report card, or certification by school registrar that the student has a passing school grade during the previous semester. The deadline of application is on March 27. Leslie Longbowen, UNTV News and Rescue, Quezon City.
More than 1,000 farmers and officials of the Department of Agriculture participated in the Grand Harvest Festival in the town of Gimbac, Nueva Ecija. Ray Pelayo will tell us why.
More than 1,000 farmers from various regions in the country and officials of the Department of Agriculture or DA joined the celebration of the Grand Harvest Festival. The event aims to encourage all farmers to plant 3 varieties of hybrid rice, which would in turn help the government achieve its target of making the Philippines rice self-sufficient. The group personally examined the 60-hectare of farmland of hybrid rice in Barangay Trialla in town of Gimba, Nueva Ecija.
Talagang malaki ang may contribute sa ating rice sufficiency at saka sa competitiveness po by increasing the yield and actually minimizing or decreasing the what we call price or cost of price of producing, sir.
One of the hybrid rice variety the DA promotes is the 8H variety that can harvest up to 800 sacks of rice within 105 to 115 days compared to the normal 80 sacks from the breed rice. Such a technique is also being done in other countries.
Millet is already planted in so many countries, Indonesia, Bangladesh, Myanmar, Vietnam, even Papua New Guinea. Ngayon, papasok pa kami sa India.
Hinahikayat ko po na sila na magtanim na po ng SL8 para mag-araming anihin at masagana ang pamilya, magandang buhay.
Based on the figures of the Provincial Agriculture Office, from the 160,000 hectares of farmlands across the region, there are 94,000 hectares of land planted with hybrid rice this dry season. DA meanwhile targets to increase the number in the upcoming cropping season. Ray Pelayo, UNTV News and Rescue, Philippines.
Coming up, the Brazilian government calms concerns over alleged rotten and adulterated meat products sold by irresponsible meat packers.
And Smurfs characters joined the United Nations to celebrate young talents coinciding the International Day of Happiness.
More from Y News after this break. Brazil is investigating whether companies paid bribes to conceal unsanitary conditions at meat packers. Meanwhile, London police and commandos held a simulation of the hijacking of a tourist boat on the River Thames. Marge Pelayo will tell us why.
In the United Kingdom, London police simulated the hijacking of a tourist boat on River Thames on Sunday as part of training for a possible terrorist attack. The Metropolitan Police said more than 200 police officers and staff took part in the exercise.
It's something we train for all the time, and it's a real opportunity to practice that and hopefully demonstrate our competence to deal with this should, God forbid, it happens.
Britain's terrorism threat level is officially rated severe, which means an attack is highly possible. In Thailand, Thai police said on Sunday they had uncovered plot to assassinate the country's prime minister. This after police on Saturday found dozens of rifles and grenades and thousands of rounds of ammunition at a house belonging to Red Shirt leader Wutipong Kochatamakun, a member of the Red Shirt movement loyal to exiled Prime Minister Thaksin Shinawatra. Police also arrested 9 men in connection with the arms seizure, saying they had clear evidence the suspects and their extended network were aiming to cause unrest. And in Brazil, President Michelle Temer met on Sunday with executives and foreign diplomats to assuage health concerns and to dispel fears of systematic flaws in the meat sector that is now the world's largest exporter of beef and several other meat products. With police alleging some producers had sold rotten and adulterated meat products, Temer said investigators would accelerate the probe. Government officials note that none of the more than 150 countries that already bought Brazilian meat has suspended imports. Marge Pelayo, UNTV News and Rescue, Philippines.
Malacanang Kamao prepares for battle against the PNP responders in Game 3 of UNTV Cup Season 5 Finals. Bernard Dadis will tell us why.
The Big Dome will be filled once again as the two competing teams, Malacanang Kamao and the PNP responders, step on the hard court in their last battle in the best-of-3 final series. Season 3 runner-up Malacanang Kamao thoroughly prepares ahead of the bout as they attempt to claim the much-coveted trophy after the responders tied the series 1-1 last Tuesday in Game 2 with final scores 67-61.
Siguro ang isa sa mga biggest adjustment na gagawin ko is we need to share the ball more. Kung sino yung mga naglalarong lima sa loob, kailangan magkaroon ng touches, kailangan magkaroon ng opportunity kasi nagiging predictable na kami masyado eh.
Coach Louis Gonzalez lay out his game plan for Game 3.
Sa tingin ko, kailangan talaga if we want to get the championship, we have to do good on both offensive and defensive.
Coach Louis' side has also expressed their thanks to Mr. Public Service Kuya Daniel Razon for a unique concept of a basketball tournament with a heart for public service.
Maraming salamat po kay Kuya Daniel sa UNTV. Malaking bagay po to para dun sa, syempre po dun sa chosen na beneficiaries namin. Yung mga players ko na mahal na mahal yung laro ng basketball. At least nagkaroon po sila ng pagkakataon through UNTV to showcase their talent. Maraming salamat po UNTV and Kuya Daniel.
Watch out as the Malacanang Kamao takes on the PNP responders tomorrow, March 21, 7 p.m. at the Smart Araneta Coliseum. Bernard Dadis for the UNTV Cup Season 5.
Our kasangbahays from different provinces are excited as they arrive at the Philippine International Convention Center. Aiko Miguel is at the venue to tell us why, live. Yes, Aiko, go ahead.
Yes, good evening, Darlene. As early as 4 in the afternoon, our kasangbahays have gathered here at the PICC for the special screening of Kuya Daniel's advocacy film, Isang Araw, Ikatlong Yugto. About 3,000 people are now inside the plenary hall. All are excited to watch Kuya Daniel's one-of-a-kind film. They are from different provinces like Cavite, Rizal, Laguna, Batangas, Mindoro, and Romblon. One of them traveled from the North Interlac just to watch the film. They have expressed their excitement, and also some of the cast of the movie are also in attendance tonight. We spotted Jana Trias, Joseph Ison, and Robbie Packing. This third movie uses high-end digital filming for better viewing. It is directed and produced by Mr. Public Service, Kuya Daniel Razon. Darlene, as always, the proceeds of the special screening will benefit Kuya Daniel's special projects through UNTV. And just like the two previous films, this movie is expected to touch the hearts of the audience and, of course, inspire everyone to do good to others as always. And that is the latest live here from PICC. Back to you, Darlene.
Thank you, Aiko Miguel, reporting live from PICC. Smurf characters joined the United Nations in a special celebration. Nino Armilio will tell us why.
Brainy, hefty, clumsy, Oh, that's not even convincing.
Movie stars from the upcoming animated movie Smurfs: The Lost Village came to the United Nations headquarters in New York to celebrate the International Day of Happiness on Saturday. The actors were joined by a trio of young students who were recognized for their work to make the world a better place. Demi Lovato, who voiced Smurfette, Joe Manganiello, Hefty Smurf in the movie, and Papa Smurf, Mandy Patinkin, handed the students a symbolic key to the Smurfs village.
Well, we're here to award young people for stepping out and teaching the rest of the world how to take care of our planet.
The students were honored for inventing a containment device to prevent offshore oil spills, a girl empowerment initiative, and advocating for social justice issues. All in line with UNICEF and United Nations Foundation Small Smurfs Big Goals campaign that sounds off with the International Day of Happiness on March 20th.
Smurfs are sort of all about happiness. Even grouchy Smurf is happy. I think that they just spread happiness wherever they go, and that's what's great about them. They are all about happiness, and what a perfect tie-in. So, very exciting.
The idea behind the International Day of Happiness is to promote personal happiness and well-being, in particular, decent work for all, access to nutritious food, quality education and health services, and freedom from discrimination.
What's going on here today is a celebration of happiness, an opportunity for the Smurfs to come together with UNICEF and the UN to say to children around the world that even the littlest person can make a difference. And if we're going to reach the sustainability goals that the UN has set, it's going to take all of us, big and small, little and big, blue and not blue, each of us doing something, and each of us can make a difference.
The stars and the United Nations officials gathered again to turn the Empire State Building blue on March 20th in celebration of the International Day of Happiness. Nina Armilio, UNTV News and Rescue, Philippines.
Those are the reasons behind the news, March 20, 2017. I'm Angelo Castro III.
Reasons we delivered to you as they unfold. I'm Darlene Basingan.
Because we need to know, we will always ask why. Thank you for watching Y News.
UNTV, your public service channel.